today, which, humidity obviously plays a huge role in how I think exhausted people can get, dry air versus really wet air, because it's kind of oppressive. So it does feel better out here. But in terms of what we're going to be monitoring, really, because this is as close as we can get, this is kind of like the entrance where we are seeing law enforcement come in. So what other resources are they bringing in today? Is there going to be anything new that we notice? We have seen those swamp buggies come in. We have seen those ATVs come in. It looks like they are bringing some of that equipment out every night, but not all of it, because they do have that command center not far from where we're at. We just can't see it ourselves. So really, in terms of what we can monitor from where we are stationed right now, is really what's coming in and out. So I think everyone out here is really like keeping their eyes peeled, watching what is going either down Border Road or what is going down this other road where it leads to the command center. So we'll just be keeping a close eye. And of course, any fast movement that we might see, that's something I know we saw, I think on Tuesday when we got out here. Anytime someone's moving quickly, I think we all kind of look and see what's going on. But as I mentioned before, unfortunately, Northport PD telling us, like I said, day 5 now of ground searches out here. Nothing has been found. So I think everyone hoping today might be that day.
Allison Henning, our Sarasota County expert, our guru in Sarasota County, and of course, our wonderful reporter joining us. Follow her, everybody, on social media for the very latest. Allison, thanks so much. Okay, we're going to switch over now here, everybody, live to outside of the laundry home here, folks. And you can see now that there is a change here, Walt. We now have the silver Ford Mustang convertible back in the driveway. This happened a short time ago, and I'm going to bring up my notes here, and I want to bring everybody in here to the conversation. We're going to use hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt here in the Facebook Live comment section, and in the YouTube Live comment section. And we've got some Instagram comments finally in the queue. YouTube Live, hello there to you on YouTube Live. I see that our audience is still growing here as we're now in the 12th minute of our live stream here. At around 8:15 this morning, the family left the family. Brian Laundrie's parents left this house. Now we have there's video of that, but I'll explain why we're not showing that to you here in just a second. Around 8:15 this morning, 8:15 Eastern, the parents left the house. They came back a short time later, and they came back with the Mustang. They left in a pickup truck and came back in the pickup truck and in the Mustang. The Mustang is back. Now, you might remember from earlier on this week, the Mustang was taken away by police and processed, and it was with Northport police there as far as being impounded, as we understand it. And now it is back. So you see it there. And I know people are asking about the camper. We're going to talk about the camper. Don't go anywhere. More on the camper here in just a second. But they came back, and then they left again, and they left with a police escort. Okay, and I say this now, Walt, again, from our commenters. I mean, it could be something, and it could be nothing.
Sure.
But it's our responsibility to tell you exactly what is going on here at the household. Now, the parents leaving with a police escort could be something where they've been gone for a certain amount of time here. I'm going to try to get an exact time as to how long that they've been gone since they returned with the Ford Mustang this morning. But they were here for a short time, returning with the Ford Mustang, and then they left again with a police escort. Now, again, we understand that as far as retrieving vehicles now, this could be just simple protocol here, and the police escort could just be for the safety of the family, considering how emotional and how of a story this is, and how this has really raised our emotions here, and there have been people chanting outside of this household here. So there's a lot of folks here that are emotionally invested in the story. Police, of course, don't want there to be further tragedy here, so there's a very good chance that the police escort was just to keep the family safe, or just to provide them with transportation. Let me see that here again. Yeah, it could just be following them, just following their whereabouts. I mean, that's an excellent point to Debbie, who works on our assignment desk here. It's an excellent point too. I mean, and again, towed the Mustang. Yeah, so we're back here with you live. This is live in the center of your screen here, outside of the household here. The police escort could be something, or it could be absolutely nothing. And that's our responsibility here, folks, to be candid with you here. We're going to get to the camper here in just a second. Walt, let's bring you in here. Your thoughts on anything that Allison had to say, and now the Ford Mustang being back here in the driveway at the laundry household.
Well, it's obviously interesting that the Ford is back. It was more than likely swept for evidence, but they still have the van, but the Ford did not take as long, and that's interesting. I think did they finish that and return it after finishing examining it for whatever they could find inside it? I also think it's interesting that police have indicated that they have not found anything yet, but they do seem to be focused on one particular area, and that might lead you to believe that they have a reason to focus on that area. And obviously we're waiting to hear that reason, and everybody's waiting for these results. And as far as the parents go, I think it's, there's really been a lot of negativity aimed at them on social media. If we're reading it, they might be reading it too. I might want to get out of that neighborhood as well, because people are consistently saying, why aren't the parents charged? Why did the parents help Brian? How did the parents help Brian? That type of thing. I would bet that I would want to get out of there too, as another possibility as to why they left. And did they ask for a police escort? They might have at that point, and the police obliged them to do that. So not strange to me at all that they would leave, especially since their house is such a focus right now of the entire nation and really the world.
You need to get some stuff eventually here. You need to make a run and get things that you might need to, live a normal life here. I'm not sure if they were prepared or equipped to hunker down and avoid leaving their house for an extended period of time. It's not like we had a hurricane coming here, as far as getting everything that you need to prepare for what is probably feels like a hurricane here for the Laundrie family here. But let's get to the comment here from. Okay, I promised yesterday that we would get some Instagram account comments, and it was difficult to get to Instagram comments. I'm now going to take the first couple of comments here from my WFLA JB Instagram account, where a lot of folks have been commenting at me, and I've been trying for days now to work in Instagram comments here from my account, because I've had people messaging me at all hours of the night. I've had people messaging me, and I'm sure it's been similar for you as far as social media activity. There have been people messaging me at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, saying that they can't sleep.
Different time zones.
It is different time zones, but people who have indicated to me they literally are laying awake at night and can't sleep because of the uncertainty surrounding the story, and they want to know what happened to Gabby and want to know where the search for Brian stands here. So we're going to start here with this comment here from Tavib731 on my WFLA JB Instagram account. #HeyJB. I first want to start by saying you're doing an awesome job. My question is, have the police followed up on when the Laundries got the camper that is in the driveway? Neighbors are saying that the Laundries and Brian left with it for 3 days while Gabby was missing. Okay, so let's talk about now this is a perfect opportunity here for me to talk about what we can and can't show you. First and foremost, I referenced that we have video of the Laundrie parents leaving the house this morning. Can't show that to you here. And it's because there are restrictions in the TV world. Of course, we work at a television station. Walt and I work at WFLA. We are a television station. And there are certain alliances, if you will, as far as NBC and Fox and ABC and CBS, and then the ownership groups that, of course, participate. We cannot show you on this broadcast the video of Brian Laundrie's parents leaving this morning and then returning, but it is on WFLA.com. It is on the WFLA app. I would bring it up if I could show it. I think our viewers who have been with us here long enough know that if there's anything I can show you, it pains me that we can't show you. If there's anything that I can show you, I'm going to bring it up here on stream. Anything and everything that's at our disposal, I can bring you. But because of how the television industry works, and that video is NBC video, I cannot show it. But it is available to you on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. So if you want to see the video of Brian Laundrie's parents leaving this morning, click on the link in the description of this video, go to WFLA.com, the WFLA app. It's right there on our homepage. Now back to the camper. Tons of questions about the camper. Yeah, but it's also, well, let me just get this one point out here, because I'm talking here about TV alliances. So Fox News gets this interview yesterday with an interview with two neighbors, the Guthries, and they go live on Fox News. And this is an interview where they talk about the camper and how they noticed that that Brian Laundrie came back home, and they didn't think anything odd of it. And then what the gentleman noticed, Mr. Guthrie noticed, was that as Tavib 731 here has commented, that the camper that is in the driveway right now, you see it there. This is live in the center of your screen right now. This is live. That's the camper right there, as we understand it. That camper left for about 3 days, a weekend that was about a week to a week and a half after Brian returned home, which would put it somewhere in the neighborhood of September 11th to 12th, September 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that time frame, based on what the Guthries said to Fox News, full attribution to Fox News with that information, that there was a disappearance of the camper. It was towed away by their pickup truck, and the camper left for 3 days for what they thought was maybe a camping trip, and then returned. And now it's here in the driveway, and everyone is asking Walt about this camper.
What's the relevance is what I would ask those people, though, because at that point in that time frame, so it's a week after at that point. So at that point, the only people who would seemingly know that Gabby has not returned to Florida are the Laundries, correct? Because she was not reported missing until the 11th. So I'm not sure what people are saying by that. What's the implication, if you will?
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think that if, it was a television interview, and on TV, and again, I'm talking here about giving folks some candid knowledge here about how the TV industry works. They had an interview with the Guthries, and it was a 4-minute live interview. If we had that interview on a platform like this, we don't have to worry about commercial breaks here. I am getting every little piece of information I can out of the Guthries to give us a timeline, give us a time frame, to backtrack through their memory here and tell us like what day it was specifically when the camper went missing for that 3-day period. Because of course the online comments, and I see them really scrolling in here on YouTube, people are here saying that was Brian Laundrie getting away. That was the moment where he vanished. That at that point, that was the 3 days leaving with the camper.
That's the Tuesday, the last point they saw him.
Well, and again, this is why the uncertainty with the time frame regarding the camper is really key here, and now is a missing chess piece on the board, so to speak. You can't play a full game of chess if you don't have all the pieces to play.
I'm going to continue to play devil's advocate here. Then the Mustang, why'd the Mustang end up in Carlton Reserve, right? Because if they'd already brought him out in the camper, I've heard a lot of these things, and I'm just wondering. I think people need to. I'm focusing on the timeline. But I get it. I mean, people want information. I'm just the camper thing mystifies me to a certain degree as to the relevance, because at that point, it would seem, at least from that timeline from the Guthries, that when they go camping, he's not a person of interest. Now, in hindsight's great. In hindsight, yeah, we can start thinking, why did they take him? But then the camper comes back. So I don't know.
You know what? We have a responsibility, Walt and I have a responsibility to stay rooted in reality, to separate fact from fiction. But I wouldn't be doing my job as far as WFLA Now and all the commenters out there if I wouldn't point out that there are people that believe that the Mustang was used for intentional misdirection, that the Mustang was used. And I'm not saying that that's true. I'm not saying that that's false. I'm just saying that this is the commentary that is out there online, that the Ford Mustang being gone from the house and then being back, that there was an intention here to do something to help and enable Brian to vanish. Now, we don't know if that's the truth. And Walt, I'm really glad that you're staying, again, rooted in reality here, because this is one of those stories now, and I know that there are true crime aficionados that are following this story and every development and online sleuthing going on, but this is a story that now is as much about the people as it is, or as much about the vehicles as it is the people. I mean, people have been talking about the Ford Mustang. Now they're talking about the pickup that left this morning, the camper, the Ford van that originally came from the van life van. These vehicles are almost, they are really important variables to this story.
Potential key pieces of evidence.
They are, and where they were, when they left, when they came back, where they were when they left. All of these questions are key. And you would imagine that investigators, of course, are trying to do everything they can. Now, okay, so back to the camper. I want to spend time on the camper. We have a lot more hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt comments coming up here in just a moment. But I want to stay with the camper here in this one regard. If the camper left and went somewhere and it wasn't Carlton Reserve, are there traffic cameras, any cameras that are out there along the route? Is there anything that they can do to pick up on when the camper left, when it was back, and where it went to? Because that could provide us with clues as to where Brian Laundrie really is. We know that there's a staggering volume of comments, Walt, a staggering amount of commenters across all platforms here. People are saying he's not a Carlton Reserve. He's not a Carlton Reserve. People they're saying it with like this degree of certainty. And let's remind folks, you don't know what police know. Police could have really solid, good evidence that they're not willing to disclose at this time. Phenomenal evidence, tangible, good evidence that they can use to lead them to believe that, yes, Brian Laundrie is with a fair degree of certainty at Carlton Reserve. But with this camper element now, is there any chance that they can find where the camper went to? If the Guthries are right on that Fox News interview, if the Guthries are right and the camper left and that was used as a vessel to help and enable Brian to get away or to leave and to be missing, then where did that camper go? It's a big question.
Right. Could have gone a lot of places. And obviously, though, within driving distance of the home, obviously, right? And it was a relatively short weekend trip. I will go back to the police out there, the people who I just don't, again, I'm as skeptical as anybody. It's part of my job,
it's
right?
Part of your job to be skeptical.
I'm skeptical of the skeptics in this sense that again, they may find nothing where they're searching, but I just don't think they're out there on some half a hunch. I think you're out there a fifth day, 50 or more police officers searching an area with plenty of vehicles on a hot day. I think they really believe something is out there. Do they believe Brian is out there? We don't necessarily know that. They call it a search for Brian, but they could very well be looking for evidence because he was there. So I just I don't know whether Brian's there, but I do believe police investigators have a solid reason they can't tell us as to why they're there. I really believe that. They're there for 5 days. I don't think they're guessing. I don't think if anything, it's an educated guess based on some sort of evidence that they have that they, at this point, believe they cannot share with the public. That's what I think to that. But
my father has a cruel sense of humor, a wicked sense of humor. He's texting me right now. And my dad is saying, have they looked in the camper?
And that is he's joking, but I think police are more than likely monitoring what the Guthries said as well. So if they have interest in that camper, we may see that camper towed away as well. That would be a key phase in this, because otherwise, or perhaps they're checking where the camper went. Now, we don't necessarily have the resources to check every single campground. I mean, because they're in this area, they're countless. We do know about how far away they could have gone, but I think if that camper becomes an important part of this, we will see it towed away as well. Or they're just interested in where the Petitos went with that camper and Brian Laundrie, if the Guthries comments are accurate.
All right, so clearly this is it looks like a still image here in the center of your screen, but this is live. In fact, we'll put away the comment here, everybody, and we'll show you that this is a live picture. You can see that the wind is blowing here. We're going to move away from this image. Yeah, there you go. One of the many members of the media casually strolling on down the street, probably looking for a Taco Bell. We're still here live for you. If there's any development here, the parents are not believed to be home at this time. And if there's any developments here as far as the Laundrie parents returning to the home, I have a tap of a touchscreen in front of me, and poof, we're live. In the meantime here, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to show you the ongoing search efforts here. I mean, look at this swamp buggy. I mean, this is crazy how they can just mow over just about any tree or any shrubbery and just look at this. I mean, looks like they're in a foreign country, right? I mean, it looks like crazy. Something that you would see from a war documentary, but they're combing. This is this morning. combing through, and this is some video from yesterday, combing through Carlton Reserve. Again, we don't know the evidence the police have, but they must have something that leads them to commit this amount of resources to Carlton Reserve near Venice,
right?
Florida.
You would definitely hope that they have some sort of, I mean, think about it. They've been working on this in multiple jurisdictions for well over a week, and hyper focused on that with, again, lots of resources. I think is there's more than likely there must be a solid reason why they are there for a fifth day.
Okay, we're gonna take your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt comments and questions here in just a moment. Walt doesn't know what I'm about to do here, but I'm about to do this. And all right. Let me say this. Our live stream is being viewed by a lot of people. We're going to get to more of your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt comments and questions here in just a second. But I've received some correspondence, a lot. Walt, I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
A lot of messages. Phone calls to the station, Twitter replies, Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs, new Facebook and Instagram. I mean, the amount of people that are reaching out to me with either, with a message of appreciation or just, wanting me to look into something and say, hey, did you check this out? Alabama this, Jacksonville that, talk about this tomorrow. Those types of messages is what we've been receiving. And throughout this process, and this applies to Walt and Allison and all of our wonderful team here at WFLA, we've tried to be compassionate in our storytelling here, and we know that there is a family, the Petito family, that is grieving, and really just had their world turned upside down over the last month or so. With all of the uncertainty surrounding Gabby, and then of course the tragic news that we received earlier this week, a family that is just in despair. This is a family in New York that is really, I mean, making funeral arrangements, and I'll say this: the family has been is very well aware of the live streams that we've been doing and the conversations that we've been having with the audience, and the family and family friends of the Schmitz and of the Petitos have reached out to WFLA News Channel 8, and they have and they have shared some very touching words of appreciation. I don't want to go too much into some of the conversations that have been had here, because a lot of those conversations have been off the record, and just trying to as much as possible treat this story with the compassion, the sensitivity, and the tenderness that it deserves here. But I'll say what I can share with you is that the Schmidt family in particular is very well aware of the conversations that we've been having with you, our audience here, and the form of storytelling that we have. This is not normal storytelling. Walt talked about it the other day. We are very candid with you. We're honest with you. We try to, of course, separate fact from fiction and try to have a real conversation with you. We don't have a teleprompter. Walt, do you have a teleprompter in front of you?
I don't.
There's no teleprompter here.
Need one. I'd like one.
No, you don't get one.
I don't want one.
Not over here.
Not
you get it on TV.
Right. We're reacting to what, I mean, it's a story that it's news because it's captivated so many people in our area, but with your forum, I mean, I've been contacted from Scotland, Great Britain, Australia, just Norway. I mean, around the world. And
around the world, and that has reached Long Island.
Yeah.
And the family has reached out, and family friends have reached out. They've been watching us, and that's extremely flattering. And about 20 minutes before we went live here at noon, about a quarter to the hour or so, we got a package, and it was a very, very touching package. This right here, everybody, I'm going to show this here to the camera. This is, and I'm wearing it here. This is the family's prayers for Gabby bracelet. See that? Walt, I'd like to. Would you like one?
Yeah, let me take a look.
Yeah, sure. Here.
Who sent you this? You can't tell us.
I don't want to treat this with the sensitivity, obviously, that the story deserves. But this is the bracelet now that a family in a tremendous amount of grief is wearing, because they want to remember their daughter, in not from the Utah video. They want to remember their daughter for the fun-loving free spirit that she was, her radiant smile, her infectious charisma. She was somebody who loved her family, and so I'm going to read here the notes that I was given here. We'd love the whole world to wear them. Basically, live every day like it's your last. It represents Gabby. Remember to celebrate and enjoy life and not be sad. Mine is a little different. They ran out of beads that I'm wearing, but this is close enough. I think the store was bought out of all the beads. They are making these bracelets right now, and it's for Gabby, because all of this focus now is on Brian Laundrie's parents. Where's the camper? Where was the camper last when it left the driveway? Or have they looked in this area of the reserve and that? But let's not forget the human element of this story that originally brought us all in here, and that's Gabby Petito. And before we take more #HeyJB, #HeyWalt questions here, I just want to say one more time that that this is all about Gabby, and the calls for justice for Gabby are loud, and they can't stop today. They can't stop tomorrow. If they continue on, and if this stays a story that you, our viewers, continue to follow, then there's going to be energy behind the search efforts. So I just with this can be grueling for not just of course all the search teams that are out here and investigators and detectives. It's grueling just for the general public here, because it's days now that could go on. We don't know. There could be developments in an hour. There could be developments in a minute. But this could be a situation where this goes on for a considerable amount of time. And it's up to our everybody watching, wherever you're watching from. And if you're listening to what I'm saying, it's up to you to stay on this story, to continue following the story, so that the justice for Gabby calls and that movement that's on social media and online doesn't lose momentum, because it deserves all the momentum, because it's all about Gabby. So wearing it here, I'd like to show the family here. There it is. Thank you. It was overnighted to the station, and I'd like.
Did they tell you what the beads, the number of beads, the colors have any significance?
No,
they didn't tell you.
They did not tell me, but it's this blue bead here, and it's a beautiful color. That's actually my wife's favorite color right there. And it's beautiful, and it's 3 beads on it, and it's nice. I'm gonna wear it. I'm gonna keep wearing it, and that's my promise to you, our viewers here. Okay. Anything you want to add on, Walt, before we start really revving through these #HeyJB, #HeyWalt comments here and questions?
Think about that again. Back to the personal note. These stories become interesting, and for a sad reason, I think we all identify with Gabby, because you have a friend who has a similar love of life, or you know somebody who's a travel blogger perhaps, or you feel like you know her because of the social media element here. And I think that has fueled this. And they weren't all still pictures. There were actual videos that were posted as well. She put her life out there in order to be known, right? A blogger of that type, or a travel blogger of that type, you gain followers. My wife was a blogger, a different type of blogger. You gain followers because people feel there's a personal connection. Gabby was successful in that way. It's sadly where it's showing up now, but even while she was doing it, she was successful. She had followers. Think about starting with 0 followers, right? We've all been there on social media. You have 0 followers. You want followers. Journalists want followers so that we can get news tips and we can get our stories out there. Gabby needed followers to theoretically monetize her site. And she was able to do that. She was a short-term success. She had long-term goals. So we all identify with that part of it. And then, of course, it ends tragically. And I think, so I get it why somebody had told you that they can't sleep, because they really became vested in the personality that was Gabby Petito.
It's a story that has, as you said, Walt, grabbed people's attention around the world. In fact, a lot of the Twitter comments that I've been receiving on my WFLAJB Twitter account have been from people around the world because they say, hey, we don't have TV that's really following the story, that closely. And
is this live or this is taped?
This is taped.
But
this is from the morning flight.
I think this is a different shot because now we're seeing how far that swamp buggy was able to go into the woods.
The tactics,
fascinating.
The tactics have changed today. Eagle 8 HC's Paul Amison. We're going to hear from him here in just a few moments, but we got to get through some more. There's tons of #HeyJB, #HeyWall comments in the queue. But to your point, Walt, you're right on the money. The search, according to Paul, monitoring this from the air, they have fanned out more and are starting to work other areas and then work their way sort of back inwards, like curling around and then coming back now. So the tactics here have clearly changed this morning. They're covering new ground here. The search area has expanded. So this is promising news here. But at the same time, I know that there's a tremendous amount of skepticism amongst our commenters. Without knowing what the FBI has, there is obviously skepticism out there amongst our commenters as to whether or not Brian Laundrie is in fact here. But look at that terrain, Walt. I mean, you were talking about it. It's nasty out there. It's just it's nasty.
Yeah.
But the rain in the last several days has subsided to an extent, and that's of course good news. Let's take hashtag. I promised I would take more from Instagram. We're starting with Instagram on my WFLAJB Instagram account because I promised people there that I would. So let's start there. This is the one I've been wanting to bring up now. Ever since Cyborg USMC passed this along last night. No one has asked this question yet. No one has made this comment. So to Cyborg here, I really appreciate you bringing this up. Brian Laundrie is a person of interest. He's not a suspect. He's not wanted for a crime. He hasn't been charged with anything. There isn't an arrest warrant in his name. Cyborg USMC on WFLAJB Instagram, #HeyJB. I'm wondering why there is yet to be a monetary reward announced for information leading to the whereabouts of Laundrie. So this is a great.
I think there will be
point, but I don't think that you can for a person of interest, or can you? Can the FBI
I think you can put a monetary reward out there
for someone that's not wanted for a crime?
Law enforcement can't. No.
I don't think that
I don't know that answer, actually. I don't know that answer.
I don't think, and we'll have to look into this. And this is Cyborg being the first one to bring this up here.
When you look at the legal definition or the definition of person of interest, it includes the phrase someone possibly involved in a criminal investigation. If you look up the definition of suspect, it's pretty close. It's just a matter of it's a matter of a few pieces of evidence. So I don't know if the FBI can put a reward out there for him, but I would bet the general public.
The FBI has, the FBI, right. To your point, semantically,
the parents, they could. I'm sure they could if they wanted to.
You're right on the money. If Brian Laundrie was missing, if Brian Laundrie's parents were desperate to bring their son home, is there not? I had a commenter say, JB, we're here. I'll bring it up from Facebook here. I think this was Facebook a moment ago from Sarah Rose here, #HeyJB. If Brian is missing, why aren't his parents out there trying to find him? This is a great question. And we don't know that they haven't made efforts in a way that we just are unaware of. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but is there a way that they've been trying to assist in search efforts that we completely have no purview to, because of course we're in the media and they are avoiding the media at all costs? Anything's within the realm of possible right now, considering that there's so much uncertainty out there. But back to Cyborg's comment here, I want to ask this question to our viewers. First and foremost, should there be a reward amount set? We need to find out, Walt, semantically, can the FBI put out a monetary reward amount for a missing person or a person of interest? Is that something that they can? Is that a tactic?
Could you put a monetary reward out for information about the whereabouts? Hasn't that? I think I've seen that.
And that's that Cyborg says, I'm wondering why there's yet to be a monetary reward announced for information leading to the whereabouts of Laundrie. We're not talking about like a bounty on his head. Yeah, even though I know that there are some people that are so emotionally invested in the story that they're like, yeah, put $1 million bounty on his head. Find him. No, information pertaining to his current whereabouts. I wonder if it's ever been discussed with Northport Police or with the FBI as far as a monetary reward for information leading to Brian's whereabouts, and whether or not that's legal. at this stage of the investigation, at this stage of the FBI-led criminal investigation. So let me ask our commenters this, and we'll bring some more comments here. We'll move on from this thread here, and I want to ask you, how much money would it be? I just did a Google search, if you heard me typing here a moment ago, as far as the highest rewards ever offered by the FBI, and I think that I keep seeing things about that there's been one for $1 million and $200,000, and looking up, and this is something that was, again, I'll need to look more into off stream, but how much money should be connected to if there was, and if it can be, if it is a tactic that is potentially on the table for law enforcement here, if they were to create a monetary reward for information leading to the whereabouts of Brian Laundrie, where do you start? Well, where do you start as far as the dollar amount?
$75,000 rewards for a Capitol Hill pipe bomber, $50,000 reward for information to arrest and conviction of whoever is responsible. That's again the pipe bomber in DC from earlier this year. 30, that's 30,000. So I don't know. I mean, but again, a reward does not have to come from from the FBI or a police organization at all.
That's true too. And there are people saying like, oh, I don't need money. I would do it for free if I,
go do it.
Okay. Yeah. By all means, if you have information.
You can't do, but right. It's about having the information.
But
right.
Is there somebody who has more information, and somebody in the area, a friend, anybody that has more information that, that, let's say $75,000 sounds awfully nice,
right,
to do the right thing.
That's right.
Do the right thing. Come clean. Your conscience is clean.
Help solve the mystery.
And $75,000. Go buy yourself what does that get you? A Ferrari? That get you a Ferrari? What's the cheapest Ferrari?
We can Google.
Cheapest Ferrari. Does it get you a Ferrari?
I don't think I'd buy a Ferrari with it.
I think the cheapest Ferrari is like $59,000. Well, you get a used Ferrari. Just, you get what I'm saying. It's money you can use.
It's a good chunk of money. Yeah.
For a boat.
Right on.
We're in Tampa Bay. A boat.
Right.
Go buy your boat. All right. Thank you, Cyborg, for your comment. I'll look for some more comments coming in here. What should the monetary amount be? If there was something, if that was a tactic that could be employed by law enforcement, where would you start? And let us know if you think that line of thinking is crazy. Just tell us. What do you think? Let's see here from Instagram, from Peruta on WFLAJB's Instagram, #AJB, have authorities check the airports and borders. Brian's parents could very easily be lying to protect their son and waste the FBI's time. This is some of the comments I was talking about earlier, as far as people believing that Brian's parents, of course, are part of this in some capacity, and they're not telling authorities everything of what they know. And again, there's no evidence of that at this time, but have authorities check the airports and borders, Walt. And I would imagine that with a case of this magnitude, with the FBI involved, if that passport or if that name was at an airport anywhere, they'd be flagged and they'd know about it.
So passport records are not public records, so we don't even know if he has a passport. I don't know if that has been stated somewhere out in the media, but you can only, and the FBI obviously does not confirm or deny anything that we ask, and Northport Police have referred everything to the Denver branch, the Denver office of the FBI. So we don't know the answer to that, but it does seem like a pretty easy thing to do. As far as the parents, again, we don't know anything about what the parents have or haven't done. A lot of scrutiny aimed at the parents. That's actually the subject of my story tonight. We talked to a legal expert about what sort of legal issues they could find themselves in from this case so far. So that, again, that quest for answers, just keep in mind, FBI run investigations, they don't generally talk until after, and then they're limited in what they say. And we've seen that with the two search warrants that have been served so far. The state warrant we have, which involved the search of that van, and then another warrant to search the external hard drive. And then the second warrant executed by the FBI has not been made public yet. They have 10 days, but they could seal it. And I believe we have possibly reported they're going to seal it, or that we hear they are going to seal that. And that's not uncommon with federal agencies.
More comments and questions. One more here from Instagram, because I promised my Instagram that people have been following me on. I didn't ask for Instagram followers, but I got a lot of Instagram followers out of nowhere, and I promised them because they were looking to me on Instagram for updates. And Instagram, we can't really go live on Instagram in this way. Instagram is a very limited platform as far as live streaming. So we can't go live on Instagram. Otherwise, it would be easy. I would just bring in comments directly from Instagram while we're live, but we can't. So Instagram's a big platform. It's a visual platform. And I want to make sure that I do my due diligence and bring it in. This is the last one from Instagram. It comes from Monica Torres on my WFLA JB Instagram account, #HeyJB. Will there be an arrest for the parents now as well? I read an article on WFLA about the FBI looking at his inner circle. Yeah, that's an article for you on WFLA.com and the WFLA app, what Monica here is referring to. And really, Walt, I mean, at this stage where we are, and as a reminder, our Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie article hub lives here. Everything, including the article that Monica is referencing, is on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. But will there be an arrest for the parents?
So the law in Florida is pretty clear.
There has to be evidence of a crime.
Accessory after the fact of whatever the crime is.
Yep.
Parents cannot be charged with that in Florida. That's a state law. Accessory after the fact. So in other words, some crime was committed, and you're right. Nobody's been charged with a crime yet. A crime is committed, and they help him after the fact. That cannot be. If you're a parent, you're not going to be charged. If you're a friend, if he has a friend helping him, or even a stranger theoretically who knew or who helped him and agreed to help him for whatever reason, they could be charged with accessory after the fact, but not parents. The other quick point though, parents, there's nothing stopping charges when it's obstructing or destroying evidence, anything like that. But none of that has been alleged or even implied at this point. So as far as charging the parents, I mean, I'd ask the person who asked that question, what are you charging them with? If they helped him, quote unquote, get away in that camper, they are not getting charged in Florida. We are actually trying to clarify if a federal law would allow charging them, but I just don't see how that would work in this case, because obviously any crime, the parents' crime, if there is one for helping him, we don't know that it crossed state lines, at least not yet. But obstructing justice or destroying evidence, that is a chargeable crime. It doesn't matter whether you're related to the person or not. So I don't know if that answers that question. I think it clears some of it up though.
Yeah. And we don't know enough about what is going on with Brian's parents. And we know that they are, Josh Taylor told me Friday night. We're coming up on a week from the Josh Taylor interview on WFLA now. Again, that's the spokesperson for Northport Police. And he said that the parents are cooperating as far as finding Brian, but are they, again, how much you can cooperate without cooperating? Does that make sense? You can cooperate without cooperating.
Right. You can answer questions, but then maybe you don't tell them what you know, right? You just tell them what they ask.
Yep.
That's cooperating in a way.
Right. #HeyJB from Amanda Flanagan. How do they know he's not watching their every step and watching all the news?
How do we know he isn't?
There's actually, listen, if he's not at Carlton Reserve, anything's on the table. Anything's on the table as far as Brian Laundrie having access to the news. He'd be watching this right now, for all we know. I mean, you could. You would think that would be highly unlikely. But if he wasn't at Carlton Reserve and he got away elsewhere, there's no reason for us to believe that he doesn't have access to the internet and can't be following all of this and using that to his advantage. But we just don't know right now. Again, he is still a missing person and a person of interest in Gabby Petito's death. Daphne Stewart, #HeyJB, #HeyWalt. You guys, your phone's ringing. The Walt phone, the bat phone. If the bat phone rings, you have to go. But
I think this is one of those. I think this is about my warranty on my truck. Actually, my warranty has run out on my truck. I think that's what that is.
Even Batman gets warranty calls on the Batmobile. Back here with you live on topic. Train on the tracks. You're keeping it on the tracks. Anytime Walt's phone rings, I, of course, look over to Walt and say, hey, do you have to take this? But warranty related, it would appear. Daphne here, #HeyJB, #HeyWalt. You guys have honored Gabby and her story so well. Your honest and heartfelt journalism is what the news should be about. Thank you. This comment means a lot. And I referenced this earlier without getting too much into this. We want to move on to other questions, but we have tried to treat this story with compassion.
I've gotten a lot of thank yous from people on messaging, social media messaging about that you and I in this forum have not convicted Brian yet, that we have pointed out that he is a person a lot. And I think it's important. I've said to many people, but there is no crime right now. Well, there is a crime now, but there's no crime that he's been accused of. At one point, there was no crime until Tuesday, right? So now we do have a crime. We just don't have the FBI saying that he allegedly did it. We just know he's a person of interest. And again, person of interest is close to suspect, but it's not quite there. So people thanking us for that. I think that we've been fair. And I think what you said earlier was well put with the bracelets and the family, what they're going through right now. We can't forget that. This isn't a movie as much as it looks like a movie. It really does. It seems like it will be a movie, but there's still mourning going on. There was a funeral service at one point planned for this weekend, and I don't know whether that's been delayed or not. We'd heard it might be delayed, but there's still mourning, and that mourning's going to go on for years after this coverage stops. And I think we recognize that, and as we wait for this search to come to a conclusion, if it does.
Let's just, I want to just speak to one more thing on this comment here from Daphne, and then we'll move on. We are very well aware, believe me, well aware that the media has received its fair share of criticism in years past. We hear it. We've heard it at rallies. We've heard it with fake news, as far as, what Walt was referencing, what the real fake news is out there. We're local. We're local journalists, and we take local journalism. I take local journalism extremely seriously, as does Walt. And of course, when you get to higher than local news, without me getting into too much of this here, when you get higher than local news, I don't think that I'd like to think that there's still, of course, some really extremely good and hardworking people there. As far as when you go beyond local, of course there is. There's really hardworking people out there at a level that goes beyond local. But I just want to, I'll speak to myself and speak to Walt and speak to our team here. We are local journalists here. This is our coverage area, and we care about our community. This story means a lot to us, and we're going to treat it with compassion and sensitivity and tenderness and accuracy, most importantly, that it deserves. Carly here. Carly where? #KJB. Does no one in the neighborhood have a doorbell camera to see when the camper left? This is big today. Big.
People obsessed with that camping trip.
One more time. Full credit to Fox News getting the interview with the Guthries last night. You can watch it on their website. I'm not going to say, that's go watch it. Go watch the interview. It was an interview that was live on Fox television, and they had it. And the Guthries talked about how the camper left for a period of about 3 days. It was about a week to a week and a half after Brian returned home with the Ford white van. And now, where did that camper, if that's accurate information from the Guthries, where did the camper go? And who's got a doorbell camera? Everyone's got a doorbell camera. I don't have one yet. I don't either. I'm going to share a secret. With our audience here. I really hope my father-in-law isn't watching. I received a Ring doorbell and for a recent holiday as a recent gift, and I haven't installed it yet. So I hope he's not watching. But everyone has a doorbell camera. I have one. It's just in my closet, and I'm yet to actually install it on the front of my house. I am going to install it now because I don't want anyone not knowing that I don't have a doorbell attached, a Ring doorbell attached to the front of my house. Point being is, staying on the tracks here, does anybody, Walt, in this area have a Ring doorbell? I think it's likely. With how common that technology is now, right?
Yeah, very likely. It's not even that expensive, so very likely. But again, I'm not sure what it tells us. I did have somebody reach out to me on Twitter, and it was, let's see, it is significant because I had said, why is it relevant? And this person wrote, it's relevant because they could have taken evidence away before the rest of us knew she was missing. I guess that's true. But again, it's all guessing at this point. And
I think that everyone here wants to pursue every possible lead here. And this is a potential lead, the camper, if it turns out to be something that was used in Brian's disappearance. So the camper, as I keep saying here, could be something big. It could be something just insignificant. We don't know, but again, that's now an element here that we can answer questions about here live on stream. Serena Kanadu, hashtag hey JB, hashtag hey Walt. Hopefully I didn't butcher your last name there, Serena. Why can't they bring the parents of Brian in for questioning? Is someone helping them out? This is really frustrating. Let me just like one more time linger on that last word here, because people say this is really frustrating, and we hear you. But Walt, why can't they bring in the parents of Brian Laundrie for questioning?
Well, they could, but the parents have every right not to answer any questions. They absolutely could. We have no indication that they did bring them in, but they could, and we do know there were 2 occasions that officers were in that house with the parents, last Friday and then on Monday. Did they ask them questions then? We don't know, but they absolutely could bring the parents in for questioning. But the parents also 100%, because of the Constitution, could say, I don't have to answer anything. They are not obligated to answer anything because of their right against self-incrimination. And they also don't have to answer anything about what their child did or did not do.
Here with you live on WFLA Now. 8 on your side, senior investigator Walt Petito, JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now, where we talk to you. No teleprompter, just talking to you and reporting facts and separating fact from fiction here. So Walt is, of course, here spending some time here with us. And Walt, I know that you're working on several different stories today. How much time do you have with us today?
I've got another 15 minutes probably.
Okay. We'll see if we can continue to get through as many of these questions and comments here as possible. And I'll see if we can alert our staff here in a moment to see if we can get another guest here to join us. I'm just going to type in, can you be here with us till 1? Come on, Walt, give us till 1:30. How about that?
Sure.
All right.
23 minutes.
Give us 1 second here, folks. We want to be able to continue the stream.
A lot of people asking online, pulling his financials and all the types of things you would see expect in a crime. But again, keep in mind, when we find those things out and you see them in other crimes, generally we find those things out afterwards, whether it's in the indictment, if there ever is an indictment, or the information, as the feds use something called an information, because they in different situations. So those things come out afterwards. They don't tell us those things ahead of time, and there's a good reason for it. They don't want us to know if they've pulled his financials, as one person asked me, because they want him to still, if he's using a credit card, which wouldn't seem real smart right now, they don't want him to know they're watching his credit cards.
Yep.
Of course,
there's so much information that we likely don't know at this time, right, because of that.
And they're, again, it's not a show. It's not a movie. It's not Law and Order. Is Law and Order still on? Law and Order still on, right?
Didn't they just bring back Elliot Stabler? No, I'm serious.
So it's not that, though. It doesn't develop in an hour. It develops in days. And much of what we do can be kind of boring. We are waiting, just like you are, tracking things, pulling strings, trying to figure out what we can get. But we're also cognizant of the fact that, again, their focus is to get this guy in because he's a person of interest and he's a missing person. That's their focus. Their focus is not informing us because we're interested in this story. So yeah, it's frustrating, but we don't know whether those things have happened, and we wish we did. But as soon as we know, we will get them out lightning fast.
Jamie Vega, hashtag AJB, and yes, we will get things out lightning fast. That's WFLA Now. We take the now pretty seriously here, folks. So if there's any breaking development at any portion of the day, we're here live within moments on the platform that you're currently watching on. Jamie is one of many who have asked this question, hashtag HeyJB. Will they be selling the bracelets to the public? And where can we get one? Hashtag justice for Gabby. Again, talking about the bracelet that I was talking about earlier. That was very, very kindly sent my way. It was very, very touching from, family and friends of Gabby Petito. And they asked me to wear it, and I'm wearing it here. I have not received information as to whether or not they're going to be mass producing them. They said they're running out of beads. Quite frankly, that's exactly what they told me a moment ago on my phone. and they're running out of beads, but I think that they're gonna do everything they can to ensure that as many people can wear it and honor Gabby's memory as possible. Heather Meek, #AJB. Have they really investigated the man that was seen on the game camera on those people's property? Yes, we can talk about this now.
Stop asking. No, I'm half kidding. I'm half kidding, but yes, they fully have investigated that guy. It's not him. The police up there, law enforcement up there said they tracked down who it was. They did search for Brian. No sign of Brian Laundrie up there. And also they said, to add to that, there's no reason why Brian Laundrie would have been up there. But really the important point is, and by the way, JB and I disagreed on the fact that I thought the guy did kind of look like Brian Laundrie, although I took a second look and maybe it wasn't as close. So I get what you're saying, but no, the law enforcement up there has said that is not Brian Laundrie. They found out who that is and determined it is not Brian Laundrie.
Yeah, that's the only thing Walt and I have disagreed on all week long, is that I thought that the trail camera shot looked nothing like Brian Laundrie, and he did.
By the way, this came out too, and I've reached out about it, but have not heard back. This area has trail cameras, 7 to 10 trail cameras, and they're available. You can see them online. The results are online. They take video, really actually remarkable video of animals, the wildlife out there. And those cameras, I believe, are somewhat hidden. And for all we know, there was it was out there at some point. I don't know whether I read it or heard it, that organization could be cooperating with investigators, and maybe that's why they're out there. Maybe those trail cameras that I believe work at night as well, because I saw a night vision of an alligator. You only saw his eyeballs. It was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
But that is on friendsofcarltonreserve.org, I think. If you Google it, Friends of we've reached out to them to try to, I reached out to them to ask, give me I want to see, I'd like to see, or hear from somebody who really knows it. And these folks really know it. This website's actually quite remarkable. Great pictures of wildlife and all that stuff out there. But those folks know this area better than anybody.
Yep.
And on this site, I've seen what kind of snake is this? This is there's a diamondback rattlesnake right there. That's out in the woods. Alligators, wild boars. You may laugh about a wild boar, but wild boar, a razorback, those are dangerous as well. And all those things are something that if Laundrie's out there, he's facing, and if law enforcement's out there, they're facing as well. Here's another eastern diamondback, but there are, I believe, 7 to 10 cameras in that wooded area that could very well either have picked up pictures of Brian or in the future pick up pictures of Brian. I don't know how well they're hidden. And again, the Friends of Carlton Reserve have not gotten back to me about discussing any of that with me.
If there's a camera on in this area, I would imagine it's going to be used to help out law enforcement. Everything is on the table. They're bringing in, look at that vehicle there. That thing is huge.
That's the one I believe we saw go deep into the woods, right?
Yes, that's it right there. The swamp buggy. That thing can go over some serious terrain and run over trees.
It's crazy.
It's insane how powerful some of these all-terrain vehicles are here. I have to point this out, and I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit, the comment section lit up when I was talking about Law and Order. I did not know this, but apparently Law and Order Organized Crime with starring Christopher Maloney as Elliot Stabler, that I'm embarrassed to admit that premieres tonight on WFLA News Channel 8. So at 10,
we're smarter than we think.
No, I'm so invested in this story that I don't know anything going on in the world right now. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. So that is, I'm reading it from NBC.com. For anyone who's loves that show, that is on tonight. And I'm a WFLA employee, so I have to.
This is not Law and Order.
This is not Law and Order. This is not a TV show.
So some of the questions we ask, I think we get a lot of. I've had multiple police officers tell me, there's always questions about fingerprints. Did they get fingerprints? Fingerprints are not as easy to get as they are on TV shows, and they are generally not as helpful. In fact, I've covered a lot of trials. I don't remember fingerprints being a key in a lot of those trials. And maybe it's because maybe they had them and didn't need them. But my point is they're not as easy to get as a lot of things in those TV shows are way easier to get, including, we've discussed this, the search warrants, getting parents to talk. finding suspects in wooded areas. It's a lot harder. I mean, look how hard this is for these officers. And I'm not sticking up for the officers at all, although I respect what they're having to do out there. I'm just saying that this is a difficult search. And to the point made by a lot of people that, why are they there? He's not there. Nobody knows whether he's there or not. No, if you know that he's not there, you're sort of hinting that you know where he is. Please share that with us so that this search can end if you know where he is.
I had a bit of an emotional moment here on stream a couple days ago, and I was talking about all the people that are blasting law enforcement here. And I want to just clarify some of the comments that I made. And I think that there's some obvious frustrations out there towards law enforcement. Clearly, there's a lot of frustrations out there right now towards law enforcement. And what I was trying to point out in that earlier moment on stream a couple of days ago was that I was trying to encourage people to be part of the solution, and that if you should be trying to share as much news on this story and share Brian's image, and that pounding the keyboard and being very, very critical of law enforcement is adding to the pile of comments that are already a mile high, is what I was saying. And so there were some people that were clapping back saying, JB, I'm an American. I have freedom of speech. I have a right to criticize law enforcement. My taxpayer dollars are going to law enforcement. I have every right as an American to sit here at home on my keyboard, on my phone, and tell law enforcement I don't think they're doing a good job. And I totally understand where you're coming from, and I get that, and I completely agree with you. It's your right as an American to speak out. And that's why we feature your comments here. That is fundamentally at the core of what we do here at WFLA Now. So I would just want to let people know that I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I do agree with you. I was trying to make the point that there's already endless amounts of comments out there pertaining to criticism of law enforcement, and that I wish that there was as many shares of Brian's image online, shares like his image and his facial features and all that. I wish that there was as much of that as there was criticism for law enforcement, and that's just a little bit more behind that moment that I had on stream a couple of days ago. Heather, to answer your question, they have investigated it. That was in Baker, Florida. That is not Brian Laundrie. They have determined that definitively. Joseph, #HeyJB. How come no one has spoken to any of Brian or Gabby's friends?
Again, we don't know that answer. Again, I'm going to say this again. I've said it a lot. Just keep in mind, let's stay on the law and order part of this. Although I don't see them talking.
Not the TV show, Law and Order, like Law and Order.
Actually, both. I mean, they're not talking right now. They're not discussing it with us. We do not bang on the door, down the doors of the officers. All of them are out there. They offer us a briefing at the end of the day. That's it. And again, this is a federal, the homicide part of this is a federal investigation. The feds do not talk to us. They will talk to us as a source, but generally do not want us to repeat that. It's more for background. They're not going to respond. They neither confirm nor deny. So we don't know whether they've talking to Brian or Gabby's friends. But I'll tell you what, we've tried to do that. And have been successful with it to some degree. And I always think if we're trying to do it, they probably have too, as in law enforcement, but they're not going to share what they found out about that. So it's a good question. It's just that police are focused on finding Brian. They're focused on collecting evidence in the homicide. They're not focused necessarily on us, but they do appreciate, I think, people looking for Laundrie when they see the video, just in case he's not where they're looking.
Gotcha. Thank you for that note. Okay, Joseph, I'm going to just say that no one has said that no one isn't talking to Brian and Gabby's friends. So imagine that everyone that might know where Brian is and anyone that might know what happened to Gabby has been interviewed at this point, or at least they have tried to. And as a reminder, Gabby or Brian's friends can do the same exact thing that Brian did as far as invoking his constitutional right to remain silent. That phone, what do you got?
Somebody from Russia.
Oh, okay.
I get that.
I don't know. Do you take it?
I just can't.
We take the Russia phone call.
Hello. They hung up. It's for my Russian truck. It's the it's the warranty on my Russian registered vehicle. But yeah.
To keep the train on the tracks, but Walt's got to keep his phone on because you never know. You never know what call we could get here.
Yeah.
Janine Andrews, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt. I think there definitely could be a reward considering he is a missing person. She says $100,000 to bring Brian home.
So the reward's
A lot of money.
interesting. How does that help? Does
But-
that mean every Yahoo out there that wants $100,000, or guys like, what's the guy's name that somebody referenced?
Dog,
the bounty
hunter. Yeah.
Are they coming out there into the woods? But even if they did, the police aren't going to let them out there, and they don't have this type of equipment, do they? Are they going to use drones? I think you made the point. If somebody sees him, it's not like, I'm not turning that guy in. There's no money in it.
Let me explain to
Right.
our commenters that have joined us in the last 15 or so minutes why this comment is coming up. We had a comment earlier from, I'll bring it back up here on our screen. It came from Cyborg. It came to my WFLAJB Instagram account, and it said, wondering why there's yet to be a monetary reward announced for information leading to the whereabouts of laundry here. And now people are asking, yeah, there should be a reward out there to get more people involved. Here's where, okay, I'm gonna take this to the next level here. You ready? Here's what I think of the reward. If there isn't a reward at this time, no even word or indication that a reward is even possible legally with where we are in this investigation. But if there was a reward, here's what I'm wondering. Could it get the attention of a hacker? There are some people out there who have unbelievable talents as far as the internet. And now I don't know if hackers, as far as pursuing legal means or illegal means to obtain the information that they obtain, but could a monetary reward get on the radar of somebody who has incredible hacking skills or IT skills?
It's a really good point. What are they going to hack into in that theory? What are they going to hack into?
Maybe they, again, there's so much, the saying goes that once it's out there on the internet, it's always out there on the internet. That phone ringing again here. They really want to get Walt on this warranty. They really do. All right, Walt, you take that. I'll bring your mic down. But back to my point, could that, and I don't know exactly legally how we would then proceed if a hacker was able to get information, but what kind of attention could that receive? I'm not just talking about people that have incredible skills with computers and with the internet. I'm just talking in general. Could there be a Ring doorbell in the area that has some footage on it that $100,000 could convince that person to come forward with that footage? I think that
person would come forward with it even without the $100K, right?
I think so.
And also, isn't the wording of the reward leading to the apprehension of?
Yeah. I can't focus on what you're saying because the headless horseman got you. The camera froze, and when you it
looks like I am.
And when we just came back on the 2-shot here, it's actually quite scary of an image. So we're gonna fix that and now bring you back up here on screen. Look at that. You went from headless and now you're back. I'm sorry. Continue what you were saying.
I was just saying. I think to what your point is, I think that in this case and many others, people are already so invested. I think the reward in many cases, doesn't it come out as everything cools down? Right now it's so red hot. Do you not offer? I don't know if there's a criteria for when you offer a reward, but at this point, I think anybody who sees them is going to turn them in if they can. And I will tell you, I've gotten a few tips. Somebody emailed me yesterday. I saw him in Miami and I said, you should call the FBI. And they emailed me back, really? And I said, yes, really. And then they asked, would I be anonymous? And I wasn't sure, but I thought, yeah, I think you could be anonymous. So I think that people are already motivated to come forward with that. I don't know if they need any more hands out there in this wooded area. So I'm not sure what a reward will do, but I would bet if we don't find him soon that we will see that develop in the coming days or weeks.
Yvonne here, hashtag AJB. When are they going to decide this is a total waste of money and resources and give up? They could continue this for another month at least. Any idea on the daily cost of this hunt? I have heard online talk, and we don't. Again, this is not reportable. Like people have said, is this hundreds of thousands of dollars a day? I mean, this is a considerable amount of manpower, a considerable amount of technology and resources here. Drones, the swamp buggies.
When you talk about the cost here, these officers, the cost is always going to be a matter of overtime, right? Bringing in extra officers to cover the shifts that these officers are involved in. So that's where the cost comes in, obviously. But some of these officers may very well be on the clock and be able to do that. But yeah, that cost dynamic will come up later. But again, I've said this before. I do believe, and I've done plenty of stories about police doing things wrong, plenty of stories about police doing things right. I sit on the fence. We are critical of police officers because, as a good friend of mine told me, we're the only ones that really check on the police, as in the media. And we get criticized for being too critical. But I will tell you this, in this case, I find it hard to believe they don't have strong evidence, strong indicators that they're out, that something is out there, whether it's Brian, whether it's evidence, they have some indicator that it's out there. I did just get a response while we were on from Carlton Reserve, where a spokesperson said he cannot comment. He has been told to refer everything to Northport Police, and Northport Police are referring everything to the FBI. Is that a clue that perhaps that it's a clue that law enforcement has contacted the Carlton Reserve? So if you want to make a supposition, or if you want to sort of make a guess here, is the guess that those trail cams saw something and the Carlton Reserve folks have been asked not to comment. I don't know.
We don't know. But those cameras are another thing to talk about here with this story.
Quick, to wrap up the daily cost thing, I don't think we're there yet. And I'm big into tracking down bad government waste.
That's Walt's beat.
That's what I don't like government waste. I do not, but something like this, I don't know if I would consider this. This is not government waste at this point. This is, again, it's not, if you don't find them there, you've narrowed one place out of the air. If you don't search, you may be wondering, should we have searched? They almost have to have a reason why they are searching out there.
Yvonne, thanks a lot for your comment. And as to when they're going to give up, they are committed to searching 25,000 acres of this reserve. Walt is leaning over here. Walt, I killed your microphone. You can talk at full volume if you'd like. Yvonne, thanks for your comment here. You good? Okay, bringing you back. A couple buttons. Boom. Touchscreen, and we're back. And you do have your head, which is good. It's important, and we need it. And it's more comforting to speak to you when you have a head on your shoulders. Let's get to this comment here from, and Walt's got to wrap up here, folks. His phone's clearly ringing off the hook. Barbara Ann Epperson Burnett. It's a great, powerful name. Hashtag HJB, hashtag Hey Walt.
Question.
Let's talk about what it takes to go from person of interest to suspect.
It takes evidence, some sort of evidence. What is that evidence? We don't know what they have to make him a person of interest, other than, we know here's what we know. We know they were together for a long period of time. We know there was a domestic dispute of some sort on August 12th. We also know from a few eyewitnesses, including a park ranger, and also now a new eyewitness on another medium. It might have been, it might have been Fox. It might have been another organization that there was some sort of a fight at a restaurant on the 27th. Did you see that, JB?
Yeah, I was just reading a couple of comments. So
there was a fight on the 27th. Yep. So now the 27th gets us to that odd email, right? Where Brian where Gabby reached out to her, the text. That's right. Where she called her grandfather Stan. Yep. But she doesn't do that. But again, now we have them possibly together on the 27th. We have Gabby alive on the 27th, Brian, and in an argument on the 27th, by the way. And then we have Brian returning here on the 1st. So now maybe it's a 3 to 4 day window. What do they have other than we know they were together. We know they allegedly fought and quarreled at least twice in a 14-day period. That's enough, in my opinion, to make someone a person of interest. What makes them into a suspect? I would assume or think maybe some physical evidence might do that. Physical evidence at the scene makes him a suspect. Some sort of admission, an email, a text from him, all of that stuff. But they don't have that at this point.
And also, too, to jump off of Barbara's comment here, what becomes possible when you name him a suspect. What would be the purpose of naming him a suspect if not just for labeling reasons, right? Because person of interest, suspect, we don't care. We just want him we just want him found. We just want him found. So I don't care if he's a person of interest. I don't care if he's a suspect. I don't care. The big thing is finding him. And it doesn't matter really what the label is, but unless there's something different with if you upgrade him to suspect, is there something more that can be done to expand the search and to continue the search efforts at all hours of the day, or can they bring in more resources?
So you can't do phone taps unless you have probable cause there's a crime. And we had probable cause for the crime of endangerment, endangering an individual. That's how they get the search warrant for the device and the van. So is that crime? My point is, do you need you need probable cause of a crime to make him a suspect in that said crime,
and that applies to the parents as well. And people asking about, no, charge the parents, bring in the parents. Parents have to talk, and
they don't have to talk.
You don't have to talk, first and foremost. To Walt's point, you're right. And they haven't been charged with anything at this time.
No,
they're not they are not persons
they're not even
of interest.
People of interest. They're simply parents of a person of interest.
That's all they are. Walt, before we let you go, what are you going to be monitoring here in the hours ahead, and are you going to accept that warranty on your vehicle?
I always do. I always buy the warranty. You have to be safe, JB. I don't think it's a scheme at all. I think it's an actual warranty. But no, we are working again. We'll have some. We'll talk to a couple of lawyers about what we've been talking tonight about what can and can't be done. Everything from charging so and so to the point of could they legally have put Brian under surveillance from day one. So we've talked to a couple of lawyers, a couple of legal experts about both those. And then also, by the way, that this isn't done with the criminal case. There could also, let's say there's no criminal charges. Let's say they never find Brian. There is a possibility of a civil case as well of that the parents of Gabby Petito could put out there. And then one question that probably will end up on the cutting room floor, asked by our photographer Gordon Dempsey. Good question, but there's been a lot of criticism aimed at police in Moab. Why didn't they do more?
We've had that question.
But the point would be, what more could have they done? These are 22 and 23-year-olds. You're not going to call the parents. You're not going. You separated them for one day. How long can you legally separate them for? And so the point there would be, it would almost be impossible to connect them with facts to what happened. They're not psychic. They didn't know what would happen in a matter of 14. What would it be? 14, 15, 16, 3 weeks later. They had no way to know that. The criticism on those police officers, I would say, is unfair. I get it.
Yep.
But we're all dealing with this in hindsight. Those officers did not have that benefit. So
I'll tell you this. I agree with everything that Walt just said on some of the commentary that we received on Utah police. And that might be some more comments we're going to take. Walt Petito, we'll let you get to it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for joining us here, everybody. Again, Walt, 8 on your side, senior investigator. Follow him on social media. He's not, when he's not talking about Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, he is revealing injustices in the world as far as what goes on here in the Tampa Bay area, what goes on here in Florida, what impacts the people that, of course, watch us here on WFLA Now. He is one of the best as far as correcting wrongs in the universe. Senior investigator here with us at WFLA News Channel 8. We're going to take some more hashtag HeyJB, hashtag Hey Walt comments here in just a moment. We have been talking about Eagle 8 HD's Paul Lamison. We had a flight earlier on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. We were live from Eagle 8 HD and showing you some of the search area. That's the video that you're looking at now. A short time ago, Paul was in the air and he filed a report for us to share a little bit about what he's been seeing from the sky as far as Carlton Reserve here in Florida, as far as the area that we're looking at here near.
Hey, what's going on, guys? What are you thinking? Hey, what big eyes? You want to grab the link? Because these two are seriously cracking me up, man. I mean, I don't know what they're rehearsing for, if they want to get a radio show or what's going on. I love when he's like, and Walter, senior investigator. I don't see how he could be out there. Somebody would have to see him out there.
Hello.
Hello. I mean, our chats get more fun every day. Is that a proper way to say it? I've been listening to Walt talk, so my English got really bad. Couldn't believe that. What else could they have done? Yeah. Hey, gamer guy, if you want to grab the link and come up, let's do it. If you said the parents have been arrested, I would think JB, JB would have his breaking news. He kept us on pins and needles last Friday night. So what have you been digging up? What, big eyes?
Oh, I've just been looking into properties and different places they could look. I found a boat. It's just interesting. I'm just waiting back for some checks on stuff. See about registrations and things. But, people said, well, it's not the phone they're looking for in the swamp. It's got to be something else. Well, what about the gun? I don't.
Yeah. Did you see the pictures? Did you see the pictures going around the internet of her holding the gun and what people thought was the gun behind the van?
Yes, I saw that. And then there's that reporter that was there at the site afterwards and took all the pictures of the markings where they dug bullets out of some logs and stuff right by where they found the body. So if it wasn't connected, if they didn't think it was, they wouldn't have been digging stuff out of that log and marking it for evidence. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I agree. I still don't think that was him out there in that video. I think that's the log. What do you think?
Do what now?
Oh, that video, everyone's like, oh, that's him out there digging. And I'm like, that looks like a tree stump.
Oh, no. I don't think that was him digging. He didn't really bury her.
I know. Well, you know what? Sorry, I'm emailing myself and chatting with everybody. Chatting with you. Well, I mean, it's like, welcome to social media. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, the crazy stuff we hear. We're going to talk about that tomorrow in our Summer Wells Live, because I tell you what, this stuff that came out overnight, I'm just...
Yeah.
I'm going to get this picture real quick. Hang on. Hang on, my friends. Like, I can't believe that he would be out in that swamp. He's got to eat something. He's got to drink something. You can't drink the water out there.
And besides, he would keep moving. Even though they're going through the swampy area and stuff, he can probably on foot move faster than them. So what are they searching for? It can't be a person, because trust me, they would have already found him.
Yeah, exactly.
They had that heat recognition stuff they were using and all kinds of stuff. But yesterday they brought in that team with the sonar stuff, and they were looking for something in the water, some anomaly, like maybe a gun or a phone or something.
Now that would make sense. That would make sense. They could be looking for the murder weapon.
Right, because they need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, what came out about the camping trip they took several days before her mother, Gabby's mother, called and filed that report. I just think that's just too odd. It's too suspect. Now, no one's going to get arrested or go to jail for protecting their child. But every day that this goes on with his parents seems a lot more like they are helping him evade justice.
Right. And they're hoping, well, they were hoping that until the body was found, that there there wouldn't be any proof because God was watching over her and enough was left and not destroyed to get her justice. That's what I believe.
Yeah, what do you make out of the Mustang being back at Brian's house?
I think they were checking to see if there was anything in there to show recent presence of him. I don't know. You know, it
Yeah,
was his.
I'm just guessing on that one too, obviously. I think it's really odd that he leaves on Tuesday. Now, mind you, they had gone camping the week before. The police go to the house on, I don't know if it was September 11th or the next day from when the mom filed the missing persons report. They give him their attorney's business card, contact him. You know, they go back about their life. Then on Tuesday, he takes off. And then on Friday, they called him and is missing.
Right. And I don't think any of that's true. I think he was gone way before that.
I don't think they came back with him. I think when they left before, I think wherever they went, he's there.
Right. Or they took him to a place to where he could get on some kind of transportation, like maybe the Amtrak.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe headed north. He's got a lot of relatives up there. They still own property there.
That's why I think it's so weird that they will not get out of this swamp when there's just no way he could have been there that whole time.
Exactly.
And his parents certainly didn't send him off to go commit suicide. They're going through too much as it is, trying to get him out of trouble.
Right. No, it's got to be something else. They're looking for evidence. They're not going to tell the public that. They're going to make it seem like they're looking for him. Well, they're looking for something connected to the case, and he's connected. I mean, you know.
Yeah, how could he not be?
Exactly. But I saw today where they have tentatively scheduled Gabby's service for this weekend, pending
That's
developments.
fast.
Pending developments in up there in Utah, and so that tells me that they have finished with the autopsy, and we could be hearing something very soon on the results past just homicide.
Yeah, and I really don't understand all the pissing contests on Facebook, people going, well, no, they didn't say murder, they said homicide. Homicide could be an accident. I'm like, look, let's not play dictionary games right now. We know what homicide means. This certainly didn't say, looks like she could have fallen out of a tree. They wouldn't use the word homicide.
Right. It would have been ruled accidental.
Hey, go have a good haircut, Chasing Justice. I got your email. Thank you. So, yeah, I don't even understand all the back and forth people, like I said, playing the dictionary game about the meaning of the word homicide. I'm like, we know what they're saying.
Right. And if they thought she had killed herself, it would have said suicide.
Right. But they use the word homicide.
Right.
Lauren has an excellent point. She said he would have been laying next to Gabby if he was going to commit suicide. He's long gone.
Exactly right. You know, this reminds me of kind of Chris Watts in a way. And the parents probably are trying to protect him from being talked to because, you know, Chris caved in really quick.
Real quick. Well, Brian looks like Chris Watts' little brother.
Yeah. So maybe he's got the same temperament and he couldn't hold up under scrutiny. So, you know, they have to keep him squirreled away somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just my, you know, all of this stuff is my opinion and conjecture, but, you know, it's obvious to me what happened to Gabby and by the things that were there at the site and what they've come out with so far. And now this deal of declaring him a, you know, person of interest. Yeah, he's really a person of interest, all right.
I like when JB said, you know, person of interest, like they want to talk to him. I love when JB breaks it down for us. I really do. I don't even know what to say when he says certain things. It could just mean someone they want to talk to. Oh, I think they want a little more than that, JB.
Yeah, a little bit.
Let's see what this Josh Benson has to say, and then we'll come right back. Hang on.
Hey, JB, just joined back. Do we know why the Laundrie parents had a police escort? And we don't necessarily know if it was a police escort or right. I mean, they had a vehicle that was with them as when they left the house this morning. I'm talking about Brian Laundrie's parents there. So it could have been a police escort. Of course, we refer to it as a police escort because it didn't seem as if that there was anything to believe that it was anything other than a police escort. Could it have been just police tailing them? Could it have been absolutely nothing and purely procedural as far as getting the vehicles back into the driveway? We don't know why the Laundrie parents left at the time and had a cop car, you know, go and leave the house with them, but it's something that a lot of people are talking about, Josh, here online.
I think, you know, obviously the media is very tight on this story. And even when I was out there on Monday, there was paparazzi from Brazil covering this story. So they were making sure they were trying to get their shot. So in a situation like this, I mean, it's not too uncommon for the police to have, you know, some representative with them, not only to see what they're doing or to follow them, but also maybe for their safety, because any member of the media could eventually start to tail them and start questioning them at different places at any given time throughout the day. So I don't think that's very uncommon at all.
Let's get to some more questions and comments here. Allie, thanks a lot for yours. Summer Wall, #HeyJB. It wouldn't be that difficult going anywhere if he was wearing a mask. Yeah, we talked about this the other day. The COVID twist to this story is that Brian, if he needed something from Walmart, he could go in there with a hat, sunglasses, and a mask on. And Josh, you wouldn't know if he was Josh Benson, JB Buno, or Brian Laundrie, really.
Right.
I mean, of course.
Did you catch that? What, big eyes?
Well, it's a little echoey. What did he say?
Oh, he was like talking about the COVID connection. He was like, he could walk into a Walmart and he could have on sunglasses, a hat, and a mask, and he could be Josh Benson or JB Buno.
Yeah.
He's stealing me. It is. Well, I want to know more about why the parents were escorted out. Or they had a police escort. Have you found anything on it? Because I can't. Hello?
Can you hear me? I can't hear anything.
You can't?
I'm going to back out and come back.
Okay. Can everybody hear?
Now?
Can you hear now?
Yeah, I just something happened. Somebody called me on my phone and it messed it up.
Yep, I know. That happens to me all the time. If I don't use something separate when we're doing these, it gets all messed up.
Yeah.
It's like I don't hear from anybody for hours, and the minute I go to do a live, the phone's blowing up.
Exactly. That's what happened.
Lauren, they have property up in New York, and they have a lot of connections up in New York. So really, in that 3-day camping trip that the neighbors said I don't know if did anyone see them camping?
No.
Or they just told the neighbors they were going camping because they could easily drive him up. They know they can't put him on a plane because they're going to find out where he went. But in 3 days, they could definitely drive him up to New York and be back home.
Yep. I thought about that too.
That really makes the most sense to me.
Yep.
And it's not like anybody could be in trouble. He's not wanted. I mean, he's missing. Like, JB keeps telling us.
Right. Well, we don't know what all the FBI is doing in the background about going through the cameras on the highways and byways, Just about anywhere you travel nowadays, there's cameras. So they can go back and search all that stuff. They really know more than they're letting on. I think they're waiting for the total autopsy stuff to come out before they, make their move.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, Outlaw Trucker. It was just tongue-in-cheek humor. I was being sarcastic about JB saying something. So, I mean, the reason I'm bringing up New York is just because, they have a lot of friends and a lot of family. His attorney is up in New York. He's the one representing them. And this isn't even a crime committed in New York. I mean, has anyone thought about that? Is he dual licensed? Is he going to be able to go? I mean, the charges will be pressed, I'm assuming, in Wyoming.
Yes.
So he won't be able to help him there. So they have connections in New York. That's just why I thought when I heard about the 3 days that they left before the 11th, that's enough time to drive, baby boy up there, drop him off, and they can get back home. Because I have a feeling the parents were calling left and right. Put her on the phone. Put her on the phone. I don't want to text. Put her on the phone. What is going on?
Right. Well, they are from that area on the south part of Long Island, Sayville, and that area. And it's right on the water. And then we have that thing yesterday where there was a 3-second thing that was uploaded on his account with someone on the boat, and then it was deleted.
Yeah, because this whole being out in the swamp thing. So I want to know which one of his parents, because I don't think he was there on the 11th. I don't think he was even in the house.
No.
Which one of his parents drove that Mustang out and made this story up? Because every day it becomes more apparent that the parents are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, they just keep digging themselves deeper. They should come out now and fess up because it's not going to be pretty.
No, it's already terrible enough. Hey, Phoenix. Tilly, John Walsh is a gentleman whose son went missing back in the early 80s. And he's been a huge advocate for victims and their families. And he runs America's Most Wanted. Just Me said they'll check their phones to see who they contacted. At this point, I don't know. I'm not versed in the law. Can they even take their phones for anything?
Well, they got some kind of digital thing, surveillance thing. I don't know what all that entails.
I wonder why they don't just go ahead and put charges on him unless they're afraid he's going to run further.
Well, I think that they are They have him under surveillance, I think. Because they would be raising a much bigger stink of searching stuff. And they're focusing on this, the swamp area, as a detraction from what's really going on. It's going to be really fascinating when all this stuff comes out.
Oh, I think it's going to be too, especially the way it's unfolded in front of us. I mean, it was going really fast, and now we've been stuck in the swamp for days.
Right. And you think about it. I'm from Southeast Texas, okay, and we have swamp not too far from here.
Right, you're basically Louisiana.
Right. And so there is the deal there of the mosquitoes. And if you have never been bitten by a swamp mosquito, you have not lived.
They're like flying cats.
I mean, it hurts. It's like someone stabbing you with a hypodermic needle.
They're huge.
They're huge and they're mean. And so how can someone, they need to, if he's in that swamp, they need to look for the cloud of off, because that's the only way you could live. I mean, they will cover you in seconds. It's just unreal that they're thinking that he can be in there and not come out screaming and covered with whelps. I mean, that's beside the alligators and the snakes.
Exactly. I'm going to put this picture up here in a second. Let me find it. That they're thinking he was on a plane to Canada. But that would be so easy to check flights coming out of there.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they tell us anything. It doesn't mean that they're saying, hey, we're looking in Canada.
Right.
I'm going to send this here. Just give me a second. And then we come back to, domestic violence and all of the people that have died from it, and it's still not taken as seriously as it should. We already, brought up the Chris Watts connection. Look at Barry Morphew.
Right. That's the biggest thing. If you look at a lot of these murders of women and families, it's because of domestic violence.
Mm-hmm. It is. Hang on. Okay, so in the days of Photoshop and everything like that, I don't know from here to there if things are real or not. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Supposedly a stewardess took this picture. Have you seen this, What Big Eyes?
No.
Yeah, they said that this was a flight going to Canada. Canada's a very big place, so I don't know where in Canada that they think this could be him. Now, the FBI hasn't said it, but Facebook FBI has said it.
Huh.
I mean, it definitely looks like him.
It could be him. And when was this supposedly taken?
Does anybody know? Yeah, most people are saying it's not him.
Well, if you had a picture, the picture had the ear in there. Ears are like thumbprints.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't be on a plane this week with a receding hairline and a beard. That's for sure. Yeah, it looks like he's got his mask down around his face, down around his chin.
Right.
Phoenix, I agree. Yeah, Holly, that is a mask. He's got his mask. This guy's got his mask now. And isn't that the crazy thing about the internet? You can take a picture of a perfect stranger, throw it up on Facebook and say, that could be him. Next thing you know, this guy is traveling around Canada and they're like, what'd you do with Gabby?
Exactly.
I mean, that is the world we live in. Isn't it just the craziest thing? Derek said a guy who's hiding would have that mask up. Oh, I agree with that.
I just wish they'd have gotten the whole headshot, you know.
Right. And I mean, I don't know why this woman, because he wasn't known when they would have been hiding him. You know what I mean? So I don't know why this stewardess would take a picture of him when he wasn't well known to the public until, what's today, Thursday? Not last Monday, the Monday before. So, I mean, hopefully they don't just go around taking random pictures of people flying.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering about the digital timestamp when that picture was taken. Because that would tell us whether she knew that he was being looked for. If not, if it was way before that, that seems very strange that she's going around shooting pictures of men with beards and stuff.
Right. So that's the picture I'm talking about. And I don't know, this was posted, I don't know if this was on Facebook or in Discord when it was sent to me. And they're saying that's her with a small gun. And it's been rumored that she was shot. But again, that's just rumors.
Yeah, that picture of her was verified.
Okay, that picture was, but behind the van, let's see, I can't tell what's in the gravel. I don't know if it's a gun or not.
There was like a white square, like a book, and this thing that looks like a gun sideways was laying on the book. And then the flip-flops were over to the right of that. And they had, increased the resolution where you could see it fairly clear.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something on something that looked like a book. Could have been a gun. Could have been that gun because that was a small caliber gun. So who knows? But what really did it for me was the reporter who went there and was taking pictures after they took the tape down and all that stuff. And she went in there and there was clear markings of where they had taken pictures for evidence and marked them.
Amanda said the whole world is looking for Brian. Everyone is taking photos of every bald, bearded dude they see. Well, this is true. I haven't done it yet, but we have new neighbors moving in, and the dude, he's got balding hair and he's got a beard just like Brian.
Oh no.
I could stir up some trouble and throw that up and say, I don't know, looks like he's moving in my neighborhood. Well, I just don't really think they're going to find him in that swamp.
No, I don't think so.
But hey, are you going to be back with us tomorrow morning? We're going to do another live on summer.
Oh, sure. I'll be back for that. I was just busy digging this morning, and then I saw you were live, and I said, oh, my goodness. But I'll be here for that. I'll put everything aside for summer.
Absolutely. Hey, Susan, what's going on with the Amber Alert in your state? Exactly, Maria. Anyone in America with a slight resemblance to Brian, shave, please. I don't care if that beard is to cover a scar or a burn. Shave, please. Or you're going to wind up on Facebook Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube. Shave that shit now.
That's the truth.
Get to shaving now. This is a big manhunt, and it's a manhunt for a missing man. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
I never would have dreamed, I just wouldn't have dreamed that it would just go so wild, just
Makes you wonder who's got connections and pull, because I'm not taking anything away from Gabby, okay? What I am saying is this is someone gets murdered every day and someone tries to get away from it. You know what I mean?
right.
But this type of press attention and what they're doing in that swamp, which I'm just going to guess they're trying to find that gun, it's pretty unheard of, especially in 2021.
Right. They usually are right on top of it. But it was really fumbled bad.
Mm-hmm.
And grant you, we all have constitutional rights, and they do until he's declared a suspect. They have a right to not talk.
Well, yeah, anyone that thinks they can defend themselves against the government is stupid. Didn't Letitia Staunch think she was going to do that for a while? Doesn't work.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
Nope. You've got to find someone that knows their way around the courthouse, period. Sorry. So I'm going to start winding this down. If they find the gun or they see Brian at a Starbucks in New York, we're going to jump back on.
Okay by me.
Yep. And then if not, then we will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to talk about summer. Hey, guys, thanks for jumping in again on short notice. Thanks, mods. Thanks, What Big Eyes. You've always got a great insight. I love talking to you. And we will see everybody tomorrow. Don't forget to sub, hit the reminder so you get a notification. Yeah, I don't think he's in those woods either. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everybody.